I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Is it what happened with Chuck and Nancy at the White House? What happened at the dinner? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. It's Thursday morning with North Georgia's only live online morning show, the voice of rural America. Donald Trump supporters, what to think? You know, you remember when you would hear your mom say, I don't know what to think about this situation. I don't know what to think about this situation. Well, we're going to figure something out. We're going to have a lot of fun today on the show because it is Thursday, and that's not the only reason we have fun. But last night, just a quick note. Now, school is back. I don't know if Pickens is back. I guess we need to check. I think it's on our website, but I'm not for sure about Pickens. I know they got hit pretty hard. Pickens County did. It's raining out this morning in North Georgia. A lot of areas in North Georgia, it's raining this morning. We got to keep an eye on Jose, and I don't mean the hurricane. I mean Hurricane Jose, all the above. So last night we had a show. We're getting back into things because Monday night we couldn't do our show up in Union County due to the state of emergency with the Union Panthers. So last night we got to do Rebel Wrap-Up with Coach Pavo, and that is on our website. That's on our YouTube channel and our Team FYN Sports Facebook page. We got to do Rebel Wrap-Up last night. I really enjoyed that. They're going over Friday night, the Fan and Rebels. This is why I like Thursdays, because Thursday means it's only one more day until it's time for Fetch Football Friday. And so tonight at 7 o'clock, Pickens Power Half Hour, we're going to talk to Coach Chris Parker down there about North Hall. Hey, they came out of the gate last Friday night with the wheels spinning and put up 21. It was 21-7 at the end of the first quarter. So we're going to talk to him about that game against North Hall. But I'm your host, BKP. We got a lot to do tomorrow, Friday. We will be at Sycamore Crossing in Blue Ridge. We're there every Friday morning. Now, September will be our final month. It will absolutely be our final month. September will. And at Sycamore Crossing, that's when, and then October we go indoors and we'll be at Blue Jeans Pizza, but we'll be in Blue Ridge every Friday. We got some things kicking up. I'm going to give a shout out. We're going to have a little Fannin County report at the end of the show, and I'm going to give a little shout out at the end of the show, a Fannin County brief statement at the end of today's show. And also, you never know, we may end up talking about Blue Ridge. But you remember the show? I think it had like a lifespan of really like 2 years. That was not a must watch, but really enjoyable, and people got into it as something the whole family could watch. You remember? So I think with the Donald Trump and the DACA, DACA, I think we have to call Howie Mandel in. I think we're going to have to call Howie Mandel in, and we're going to have the case out there. We're just going to have to pick a case. We're going to have like 20 cases of a decision on DACA, and then we're just going to have to close our eyes and pick one, and we're going to have to say deal or no deal. Because that's what's going around this morning. Deal or no deal? Did Nancy and Chuck cut a deal with the Teflon Don? This is the hashtag going around this morning. The hottest hashtag is hashtag Amnesty Don. The Teflon Don. You remember who the Teflon Don is? Text me at 706-889-9700 and tell me who the Teflon Don, who got that nickname, the Teflon Don. This may be the new one right here, okay? If you would like to get involved with the show, contact us. Let me tell you all the things we have going on before we jump right into this DACA. You can call us and text us at 706-889-9700. That is our phone number here. That's a 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week hotline, news tip line, whatever you want to tell us, or you can text the show live as it's going on. You can also email me at chief@FetchYourNews.com, chief@FetchYourNews.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at FetchYourNews, at FYNTV. Okay, then our YouTube channel, if you ever look for our segments later in the day, go to FetchYourNews.com, but you can also go to our YouTube channel, FYNTV Fetch Your News. So that's on our YouTube channel. Now, DACA. You know, you keep hearing DACA, okay? So let's just actually start with the nuts and bolts of this, as we would say. It is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Okay, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Now, first of all, if you get into the separation of powers and the powers that each branch of government have, President Barack Obama did not have the constitutional authority in the executive office to do this. He did not have it. He knew it himself, but he did it, okay? Now, the one thing, while it's going to be, here's what's going to be interesting, and no pun intended, or no, you know, look, I talk loud. I try not to, but I just talk loud. So I'm not mad. Well, some days on the show I'm pretty frustrated, but I talk loud. So what I'm about to say, it sounds like if you're watching any news show, any talk show, any program, today's discussion on DACA will be who can yell the loudest. I mean, that's who's going to be. You ever see two people get in an argument and they start escalating left, no pun intended, right? Yeah, or pun intended. Left, right, and they start escalating. So today will be directly who can yell the loudest. That will be the argument over DACA, but it's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, is an American immigration policy. Now, see, the thing about it is, Barack Obama did not have constitutional authority to create an immigration policy, okay? But he did. Established by the Obama administration in June of 2012, the policy allows some individuals who entered the country illegally as minors to receive a renewable 2-year period of deferred action for deportation and eligibility for a work permit, okay? As of 2017, approximately 800,000 individuals referred to as Dreamers, okay, after the DREAM Act bill were enrolled in the program created by DACA. All right, so out of the 800,000, now let's go with the first thing. There is a portion that ran to sign up, okay, to be eligible for this, that are not eligible, but nobody asked any questions. That's number one. So how many of the 800,000? So if we want to talk about the poor little children that were brought here unbeknownst to them at 4 and 5 years old, or 3 or 2 or whatever, and they were not aware of what's going on, how many is there actually in that 800,000? How many? Okay, by the time you get the criminals out, seriously, gang members out, and the people that ran to sign up for this that are not eligible. So we're not going to say, but there's 800,000 actually it supposedly affects. That's what you'll hear the media say. So that is Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals if you keep hearing DACA, all right? Now, we're going to break this down a couple different ways. But there's a couple things, and Richie, I want this probably all in one segment because it's going to be pretty long. But we want to break it down. We don't want to yell the loudest. We want to actually be as factual as we can about immigration. So let's start with the deal that we don't know if it's a deal or not. Chuck Schumer. We're not going to break down whether Mitch McConnell, we know the putz he is, all right? We're not going to break down whether Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan are relevant anymore. We're not going to break down, well, this is all the Republicans' fault or they wouldn't be in the Oval. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to stay with some solid things, okay? So whether there's a deal or no deal for these people to stay, there's a lot of discussion this morning and overnight, and the president has already sent out a tweet. We'll get that up in a minute, that there's no deal was actually made. But in this, All right? The immigration, there's no wall, okay? There's actually no wall involved. All right? Enhanced border securities. If what Chuck and Nancy are saying are true, okay? Enhanced border securities and a pathway to amnesty. Now, I'm not going to question your intelligence, but you hear amnesty all the time, and it's a general pardon of offenses. A general pardon of offenses, especially political offenses against a government, often granted before any trial or conviction. All right, so that's the amnesty, and that is what the deferred action childhood arrival is. That being said, we've got to go in the Wayback Machine. Now, you know, I don't know you out there. I don't know what, I don't know how you feel about Ronald Reagan. Now, I will tell you every day, I tell you, I'm a Ronald Reagan Republican, okay? I'm a Ron, and I think I know. Now, I don't want to start a turf war with Laura Ingraham. I love her. I'm not. Ann Coulter throws the bomb of the day. I'm not saying there's a lot of subjects she's not correct on. There's a lot of things she's very correct, but she throws the bomb of the day. So you'll say Ann Coulter, right? How many times? And they will call her up as a guest, and she will be very dramatic about her reasons why there should be no amnesty and all 11 million or whatever should go home and be sent back. So I don't want to start a turf war with Laura Ingraham, Ann Coulter, Steve Bannon, Breitbart, but I probably know, this is, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to put it right to the camera. I probably know more about this era of illegal immigration than any of the three of them. I may not be able to recite chapter and verse of some of the things that they want to recite, but what actually took place, I'll look in the camera and tell you, you are with this morning somebody that knows this subject better than Laura Ingraham. Sorry. Maybe better than Rush Limbaugh. I know that was bold, but I got to go there. Better than Ann Coulter. Better than Steve Bannon. I know how that sounds, but that's a fact. I'm a Reagan Republican. Don't forget the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. That was the time when Tip O'Neill went up to the White House. And some of you kids out there don't remember Tip O'Neill. But that was the bipartisan. So every day we're hearing bipartisan, and we're hearing that Donald Trump's doing this to get his approval ratings up. Let me just cover this. Donald Trump has a plate that he has no choice. I am not going to excuse amnesty. I'm not going to make excuses for him this morning on any deals with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. But I am going to say this. It's not who yells the loudest, it's who tells the truth today. And Donald Trump has a plate so full that Barack Hussein Obama, Democrats, and your friend and mine, the Republicans, left on his desk. He has no choice but to deal with these things. And actually, if he'll move these off his desk, he can move on. Because let me tell you something. If the stock market goes up and the tax cuts go through and you get a little more money in your paycheck and more jobs happen and your boss is in a good mood because he's not paying the high tax rate and you got enough money to go out on Friday and Saturday night and go to the movies, you're going to forget. Let me look at the camera. You're going to forget any amnesty deal Donald Trump made. It's going to last 24 hours in your brain and you're going to move on because it won't affect you at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how loud somebody yells. Now, this is not whether it's right or wrong. This is America. This is who we have become. If you got everything you want, boss is in a good mood, taxes are down, this puts confidence in the market and it goes up, and everybody's living okay. See, we've always had a roaring 20s mentality. We love the roaring 20s. It doesn't matter what day it is and what date. Go look up the roaring 20s if you don't understand where I'm going. If that's the case, hey, whatever they want to do, they can do. Now, the Immigration Reform Act of 1986, my hero, President Ronald Reagan, and Tip O'Neill cut an amnesty deal. I know it very well because as soon as they cut it, your host helped about 15. I personally was involved with helping, I'm going to use the number of 15 different illegals that came here to work get their documents. I helped them. Like I said, you've heard them on this show many times. I have been to the immigration offices with them. Now, let me tell you what, so you understand, this is, it don't matter where you're at today, you're not going to hear this kind of stuff. I actually went to immigration offices in 1986 with the mom, the dad, and the 6-year-old child. They're all illegal. Mom, dad, 6-year-old child, mom's got a baby, and the 6-year-old had to do the talking. I did it. I know it. So that being said, the Immigration Reform Control Act of 1986, we were supposed to get border security. It came with a deal. We'll make a deal for these people that came in and are doing all the construction. Not all. A good part of the construction. We're going to make a deal, Ronald Reagan said, but the other part of the deal is border security. We never got the border security. We never got the immigration reforms necessary for border security in this country. That's why Republicans always stand on we have to have border security first. So last night, if Donald Trump did the same thing in 2017, conceded to letting 800,000 dreamers have a pathway to citizenship in exchange for enhanced border securities, less the wall, this is what we're hearing, then maybe 1986 all over again. So that's one part I wanted to bring up. The second part I want to bring up is what in the world? Now, we have some tweets this morning, and I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure if the president... He started 9 hours ago. Now, we don't have these tweets up. Leave those up. But he started 9 hours ago. And this is about the time Chuck and Nancy, they were having... See, I think he was thinking about the Chinese business tax rate. So they were thinking about the Chinese a little bit. So he said, they said, what do you want to serve? And I hear they had Chinese last night. That's what I heard. It was Chinese. The meal was Chinese. So anyhow, Chuck and Nancy like Chinese. Chuck goes down. You got the hanging ducks in the window, right? He goes down to 23rd Street, little Chinese place. They try to find him a fork because he doesn't like chopsticks. That's how Chuck rolls, right? So he said, let's have Chinese. The Kung Pao. So anyhow, President Donald Trump knows there's outrage here. But does he address it? Not at first. 9 hours ago. China has a business tax rate of 15%. We should do everything possible to match them in order to win with our economy, jobs, and wages. Okay, why was that the tweet? Because you were, at this time, you're sitting there with Chuck and Nancy cutting the deal of the century. So why that tweet? Now, if all else fails, if everything goes to put, if you're getting ready to make a deal with Chuck and Nancy, Hurricane Chuck and Nancy are at the White House, whipping around D.C., 2 deals in 2 weeks, okay? If everything else falls apart, you can always count on a crooked Hillary tweet. Serious, folks. So about the time this is getting released, it's all over the internet, Amnesty Don, one thing after another. What does he release? Crooked Hillary blames everybody and everything but herself for her election loss. She lost the debates and lost her direction. I don't know. I mean, I know where it came from, but why that timing? I mean, you know, why not tell your base? Remember, Steve Bannon's 60-minute interview said, okay, let's go back. Steve Bannon's 60-minute interview said he will not stop tweeting. It won't happen because that is his way. This came from Steve Bannon. That is his way. Former chief political strategist in the White House, now the mastermind behind Breitbart that's going to run the 2018 elections and post candidates everywhere to go against these liberals and continue to fight the war. We're going to go into that later. But he told us the other night, Steve Bannon did, that Donald Trump will not stop tweeting. Won't happen. Why? Because it goes over the head of the media, direct to his voters. So last night when Donald Trump is tweeting this, everything is starting to explode that he made another deal with Chuck and Nancy. First, the debt ceiling, right? Don't you love when they talk about the debt ceiling? They said they kept our credit rating in check, our good credit status in the world. Wait a minute, 20 trillion in debt. Okay, we'll go into that some other time. So he knows what he's doing when he's sending these tweets out. Crooked Hillary blames everybody and everything but herself. Oh, yeah, we'll cheer over that. Then 9 hours ago, the deplorables, okay, came back to haunt Hillary. They expressed their feelings loud and clear. She spent big money. In the end, had no gain. So he throws out 3 quotes 9 hours ago, 3 tweets 9 hours ago. I call them diversion tweets. Diversion tweets away from the media reporting Chuck and Nancy are sitting in there eating Chinese food, passing the soy sauce to each other, and, you know, drinking a little sake. Donald doesn't drink. Nancy gets a little, you know, she gets a little giggly and everything. Next thing you know, Chuck says, look, Trump says, I'll tell you what I'll do. You give me the wall, you fund the wall that I promised people that I would put up, and I will give you DACA. I will sign that into law. And Chuck says, well, I'll tell you what I do. You get no wall and we get DACA. And Donald Trump says, now that's a deal I can live with. Maybe that's what happened, but that's what it's sounding like. So after he floats these diversion tweets last night, the President of the United States, I still support the President of the United States, but I can just see through all the smoke, okay? He hears everything last night, the firestorm, and it is blowing up. Now, what is most enjoyable this morning is to hear Morning Joe, Minka, and the Barnacle, and then hear CNN, to hear the liberal media explaining this. I mean, they are explaining this, and they are tripping all over themselves, trying to not like Donald Trump, but having no choice, trying to highlight what the Democrats did in the room, but not too much, because their base. So you have the base of the Democrats, you have the base of the Republicans. What's that leave? The center of the country. Independent Don? I floated that out last Friday. Is this Independent Don? Did I hit something last Friday? I don't know. But this could be the first. You see, you got the base on the left. They are smoking. The base on the left, there's no difference in the base's emotion, folks. The base on the right cannot stand the thought of Donald Trump sitting in the same room with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Actually, to me, it's like the day I watched the commercial and Newt Gingrich was sitting with Nancy Pelosi on a park bench talking about climate change. I swear to God, that was the day I was like, whoa, what happened here? So for the right, we cannot stand the thought of those three in the Oval Office. On the left, their base, it's equal. The outrage is equal. The only difference is when we go and protest and everything, we do it in a peaceful manner. They throw rocks, hit people, throw bricks, sticks, and everything like that. That's the biggest difference there. But the left base, oh, they are as angry that they're in the room with Donald Trump. What's that leave? The center of the country? Could Donald Trump be the first independent president in the United States, not in the United States, I'm going to say independent president to run again? All right, now, So the fallout, all right? 2 hours ago, no deal was made last night on DACA. Massive border security would have to be agreed to in exchange for consent. Would be subject to vote. Massive border security. When are you going to hold out for that wall funding that you... So I have to tell you, I'm not taking you to task, Mr. President, because I would like to get the interview, and I think I deserve the interview better than anybody in the country. But I just have to say, I kind of was remembering that Mexico was going to pay for that. And I know it's only been 7 months. I'm not pushy or anything, but just like to hear when these wheels are going to start clicking and the Mexicans paying for this, and you know, you holding out for wall money. Just like to hear a little more. I'd like to hear what massive border security would have to be agreed to in exchange. See, I know 1986. I was there. I know immigration. I'd just like to hear. It would be subject to a vote. So what do you get? You get 50 of the Tuesday group. You're going to have, look, subject to a vote. This is going to take all day, folks. All right? But when I say subject to a vote, and the president says subject to a vote, you need to understand every congressman is in the United States, congressman, congresswoman, or whatever the hell they are, they're going to poll their district. Immediately, they're going to poll their district. And they're going to check it out. And if their district comes up 51 plus that this is okay, they're voting for it. They are voting for DACA to become law, the DREAM Act. So we're going to get into that too. But they're voting for it. And they're not going to care. And the Democrats are going to see how it plays back home, and they're going to vote for it. This is going to pass if it does go. So what's the next one? The wall. Okay, we got to go to break, but I want to leave you with this. The wall, which is already under construction in a form of new renovation of old and existing fences and walls, will continue to be built. I'm just not feeling the enthusiasm in that one. Then an hour ago, does anybody really want to throw out good, educated, accomplished young people who have jobs, some serving in the military? Really, do you want to throw them out? We're going to cover that. We're going to answer that. They have been in this country for many years through no fault of their own, brought in by parents at young ages, plus big border security. So 1 minute there's no deal, okay? 2 hours ago there's no deal. Then the wall is starting to work on that. We're starting to fix the holes in the wall. Then an hour ago, do you really want to throw those people out? They have been in our country, plus big border security. So that's where we started. So deal or no deal, okay? And then, to round it out an hour ago, I'm leaving now for Florida to see our great first responders and to thank the U.S. Coast Guard, FEMA, etc. A real disaster, much work to do. My suggestion, Mr. President, do not go to Mar-a-Lago. Do not go to Mar-a-Lago. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a break now. Let me throw the sentence you will not like, but we're going to come back on this. We're going to hit on every bit of this today, okay? Abe Lincoln freed the slaves. Donald Trump saved the dreamers. Don't forget that, folks, because when I come back, I'm going to explain that sentence to you. I'm your host, BKP. Take us a break.